The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Man Fream, and thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. It's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as our previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 144. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter, at ZZZEDTOZED, or at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, of course, I've got Proulx with me. How you doing, Proulx?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, there's a dog barking, and I don't know if it's outside or maybe in the apartment above me. And I doubt it'll be picked up on the mic, but it's really annoying, and it's been going on for about 10 minutes. So I don't know. Somebody needs to go pet their dog or something. But I'm good. Otherwise,
you should go pet. What? I don't know. You've been coughing up a storm over there.
Yeah. I think it's allergies because I'm not sick. I feel totally fine, and I never had this problem until I moved down here to Virginia. And now every year, it seems, every 9-10 months, when the weather starts to change, I just can't stop coughing for like 2 weeks straight. So I imagine that's what it is. But other than that, I'm doing great. Good.
But we are not alone, the two of us, in like we had mentioned in previous shows. As we wrap up the show in episode 150, we're hoping to bring on some guests from the community, and we have such an esteemed guest. It is Kronos. How are you doing, Kronos?
I'm doing well. Wow, esteemed guest. That's more than I expected. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you, guys.
Well, this is your second appearance, isn't that right?
No, this is my first time on the podcast.
First time. Oh my goodness! I was on your show, your Tuesday stream, which was fun. I watched it this week briefly. That was fun to jump in, but I was on my phone, so I didn't get to hear anything.
Oh, you didn't hear anything? It must have been a very boring stream, honestly. Did you see Uncanny Valley or did you see Wolf's Bite?
Uncanny Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the worst one to see.
Was it? Okay, because I made the comment when you were running down the hallway with your security guard guy that, like, he ran to the elevator and then, like, the idle animation where he's bobbing up and down makes him look like he's super winded.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were. I completely forgot about that. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. Like I said, I was there for a cup of coffee and then I had to take off. But it's great to have you on the show. Appreciate it. And sounding clear as ever.
Yeah, it's a brand new mic. I'm testing it out here tonight on your show. That's what you want to do. You want me to have to test things for you, right?
You might as well, right? What are you going to do? Hurt our reputation? We got 5 shows left. So, I'm not too worried about it. So I want to start the show off by just saying, and Kronos, you're actually part of this as well. I've been receiving some really wonderful feedback on the frog story I told about my wife, and how, she's just not, and I didn't realize how many people, like, commiserated with her and saying, like, I totally understand frogs are kind of creepy. And it's funny from my standpoint because, like, frogs are not even the worst problem that we have. Mice are by far my wife's most terrifying creature. And so much so that, like, she was in an apartment in college, and there was a dead mouse, mind you, not Dead Mouse the singer or the DJ, but an actual deceased mouse had died in front of her door, the only exit into the hallway, and she called the janitor. She skipped school and had maintenance crew from the apartment complex remove the mouse before she could leave the building. Like, that's how terrifying she is when it comes to these mice things. And so one time, and this was probably my favorite story, is when we were doing, it was a garage sale. So we had a bunch of tables out, and obviously the garages are all open, and, there's just boxes everywhere, all this crap. And we had finished, and so it's, whatever you don't sell, you have to start folding up and putting away and trying to organize so we can take it to Goodwill or donate it or do whatever we want to do with it. And all of a sudden, this large rodent comes running in like just a flash into the garage. And my wife saw it, immediately freaked out, and ran a half mile down the street. to the end of the road and would not come back. I mean, she just like abandoned our house and our kids. And I was in there and like I had to like dig for like I couldn't. I mean, it's in my garage. Like, how am I going to find this thing that clearly doesn't want to be found? You know, it knows if it sees a human, it's doomed. So I'm like, I got to just trick her that this thing has left and it's not a problem. Or I don't even know if I make noise or whatever. So I just started to kind of poke around and look, and it just so happened to hide in the corner underneath my workbench. And it was an infant bunny that had gotten in there. And so like, and it was just terrified and covered in spider webs and stuff. And so like I got some gloves on and I grabbed it and I held, I mean, it was the cutest darn thing. And so thankfully I was able to coax my wife back to see this adorable little animal. But I mean, I had to yell down the street to get her to come back, like, I caught it, it's okay. You know, I mean, like, absolutely freaks out. So
I'm getting the distinct impression that your wife wouldn't do so well on something like Fear Factor.
Oh, gosh, no. Yeah, not a chance. Yeah. Not a chance. Like, I don't even, I mean, her and I are not, we do not care much for fear. Like, that is not we don't like scary movies. We don't like scary TV shows. Like, she won't even, like, if I have to go travel somewhere for work or something, she'll take the kids to her sister's house. Like, she doesn't want to be in the house alone with the kids. Like, that's how skittish she is when it comes to things. But, like, it's funny because she's also the bulldog in the relationship where it's like I'm pretty laid back. If you guys heard me for quite some time now, you know, I get riled up every now and again, but it takes a lot to get me going. And so like, if it's like something, especially like bargaining or bartering, haggling, I hate that. I absolutely hate doing it. And my wife loves it. And she will chew up the sales guy. I mean, just absolutely twist his arm until he says uncle and gives us a great deal on something. She just eats that up. So like she's a total bulldog, but when it comes to critters, scaredy cat. It is just bizarre. Do you guys have any special people in your life that are just terrified of animals or things? Have any phobias?
My girlfriend is the exact opposite of your wife, Fream, where she will pet. I've asked her multiple times, is there an animal on the planet that you won't pet? Because I think it's okay and healthy to have a good respect for certain creatures. Sure. And I'm convinced that she would pet a starving polar bear if given the opportunity. So yeah, it's kind of the opposite situation. She like begs daily for the universe to send her a basket of abandoned kittens that she can take care of on the side of the road, and it doesn't matter. Or if it's a snake or whatever, a scorpion, it doesn't matter. So it's the exact opposite for me.
That is bizarre. That is very interesting. Kronos, you know what? We actually don't know a lot about you since it's your first time on the show. Why don't you regale us a little bit with some backstory? Any special people in your life? Your age? You're an East Coaster, right?
Yep, I'm on the East Coast. I'm actually pretty close to Peru. We're both in Virginia here, and so I can sort of segue from that into my wife. We've been married for coming up on 11 years now.
Ooh, congrats! That's awesome. I just celebrated my 12-year.
Fantastic!
It's quite the feat.
Yeah, it's wonderful when it can keep going. That's it seems so easy. Just inertia sets in, but it's also one of those things where it's far too often that these things do fall apart. So it's great to hear when it keeps going.
Agreed.
My wife has no real phobias when it comes to these animals. She's fine with almost anything. But there is one local guy that will absolutely get her to call me in and take care of it. Just deal with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to even think that it was ever in our house kind of situation. And it's called a camelback cricket. You think about crickets, and crickets are okay. I mean, they jump and that bothers some people, and they chirp and that annoys some people. But they're black or they're brown. Those are fine crickets.
Yeah.
These things, these are nasty. These are cave-dwelling crickets. They're blind. They are attracted to moisture, so you'll find them in showers frequently.
Ooh,
and
gross.
They are hideous.
Are they like the size of chihuahuas? I mean, like just big old crickets?
They can be big, but they're not going to be quite the size of a chihuahua big.
I mean, okay, that was a bit of hyperbole. But
They're big crickets. They're nasty, and if one of them comes along, she wants nothing to do with it.
That's great. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of bugs. I mean, they don't mind. I was just getting a spider out of my hair, which was gross and unnerving. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But I totally understand. But I was listening to a different podcast called Ologies. I think I've mentioned this on the show before. And they did a 2-part episode on fearology. And this woman studies fear and talks about it. And it was super interesting because it went back and forth discussing, like, actually humans, they only have the 4 base emotions. Like, you've seen the movie Inside Out, right? With the animated, it's Pixar,
I've seen it.
Right?
It is Pixar, yep.
So those 4 emotions are actually the 4 base emotions in every human being. Like, everything is a version of happy, disgust, sad, and fear. And so, what we in this Western civilization, or I guess most of humanity, refers to as stress is actually a fear response. But we're told that we're not supposed to externalize our fear, that we're, bottle it all up inside. You don't want to be afraid. You want to be a big, strong man and all this stuff. And they go into this deep talk about fear. And I mean, it absolutely went into places of like horror movies and why we like horror movies and why it was super fascinating to listen to. But like I said earlier, I hate scary movies, but I love to read about them. Like, I like the thought experiment. And her comment was like, the brain likes to dress rehearse terrifying scenarios, knowing that they're safe, but it likes to go through dress rehearsals of like, if there was a zombie attack, I'd know what to do. Like, realistically, I probably won't see a zombie, but you better believe I got a plan. And they just kind of run through those scenarios. But you know what? We should probably talk about video games.
Like Fear?
Like Fear. Did you play Fear this week?
No.
Was it on your...
I just thought of it because we've been talking. We said the word fear a lot, so we
did say the word fear a lot.
Makes sense. I've never played it ever.
Where are you in the UHH? Did you signed up?
Yes.
And
I made it through to the knockout rounds. I placed, I think, 130th place overall in the group stage. So
that's great.
No real concern. So I've had my first knockout match this round.
Yeah,
and I'm doing pretty well.
It ends in a few hours.
And it looks like, unless things go horribly wrong, I should be advancing to the next round of the knockout rounds.
Congratulations. What's the score currently standing at?
The last I saw, it was 13-11.
Ooh,
so
that's pretty tight.
It's tight. The guy's he's given me his A game, which is fantastic, and we've had some good communication back and forth. We both had pretty busy weeks. This is a list where a better competitor could probably have 20'd it, but with work and family and all those fun things, it's tough to come up with all those for us. He gave it a good effort. He got a lot of solid achievements, but the list was in my favor. I had an advantage on several of the games where we were matched up with progress, so I was able to just key off on that, and the ones where he had the advantage, I got those early in the week, so I took away his advantage, and then late in the week, I pounded the nail home with the games where he couldn't catch up. It's
funny about how, like, strategy works, when you're at a level where it's like, you're not intending to do the full 20, that there is actually a strategy to it, and I'll talk about my strategy in a bit here. But of those, Kronos, what kind of games you've been playing? Anything fun? Anything stands out that you wanna talk about? So the most amusing games that I had on my list is that I bought a trio of Artifex Mundi games, the hidden object games, so I could play them with my wife. She loves hidden object games, and I love Gamerscore. This is like a match made in heaven. It's perfect.
Unfortunately, since buying them, we haven't actually played them. So all 3 of them were sitting still in my unstarted inventory of games. And all 3 of them got picked for my UHH list this week as new starts for me and fairly new starts for my opponent. And I believe he got all 3 of them because they're not too hard, obviously.
Right.
But I only started the one where I could get the achievement for finding 3 objects in 5 seconds or something like that in the first puzzle, and then got out of there. That's for me and my wife. It's like, hey, hun, do you want to play this week? Because this would be a really good week for me to be playing this, and it just hasn't happened.
Let's play these 3 games all this week, and that's it. That'll be great.
Come experience my life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that
which 3 are they good ones at least?
It's the first of 3 different series. That's Grim Legends, Enigmatus, and Forsaken Bride. No, Something of the Deep.
Nightmares of the Deep.
Nightmares of the Deep, yeah. So those 3 series, the first game in each of those series.
That's not so bad.
No, they're probably okay.
I think I liked Nightmares the best of those 3. Proulx, you've played all of those. What was your favorite of those 3?
I played one of them.
Oh, which one? Nightmares?
No.
Oh, Lost Grimoire. That was the
Yes.
easiest one.
Yep, that's the one I played for a review, and I've not gone back. I couldn't imagine playing 3 in 1 week. I don't know if I have the stomach for it. That's a lot.
They are, yeah, I agree.
Not my type of game. For sure.
They're my slow bleed games. Like, what I love is for Enigmatis, it starts with the letter E, and Nightmares of the Deep starts with an N. Those are always letters that are fairly common in gamer tags, and I don't own a lot of games that start with them. So it's every month I do, like, a little bit of progress just to get, the next achievement in those, just to get my tag for the month. What is it? Matriarch and Minpin. So you better believe I got 2 Nightmares of the Deeps for Minpin lined up. That's awesome. What else you been up to, Kronos?
Well, other than games I had on the list include The Fall, which is an adventure point-and-click action shooter kind of game. It's a really weird combination with some really awkward controls, but the story is really quite good. I started it back for the Alphabet Challenge because I needed a T for some reason, and I said, I'll go with this one.
Sure.
And I have to say I really enjoy the story, but I don't know that I really enjoy the game because of those control issues.
Is that the one with the guy, the spacesuit?
Yes.
The robot spacesuit?
ARID, Arid spacesuit that is trying to protect its occupant, the pilot, who is unconscious after the fall. And in order to actually protect it, she is going down this path of increasingly not...
gaining sentience?
Yeah, this is not how she is supposed to be behaving.
It's super cool. Yeah, I like it. They have a sequel out. I have yet to... the second episode of that is out. It's been out for a while. Yeah, I agree. It was a very cool. It was a cool game. But you're right. It is clunky.
Yeah, those controls really hold it back, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's probably one of the better games I've played all year. Because I like story-driven games. If the game has a good story and has mechanics that back it up, that is going to be the game that is going to be most interesting to me. This one has the good story, but the mechanics don't back it up, and they detract from it instead, and that's unfortunate, because it could be so much better. Which is, I'm still not going to take anything away from it. I still think it's a good game, and I will recommend it to anyone, especially because the first episode is fairly easy. It's going to take a couple of hours, maybe 4 tops. 2 playthroughs if you don't do any safe manipulations, because you have to get both of the endings. And then you're having a good story as you do it. That's not a bad response for a fairly small investment of money.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Let's swoop back and mix it up a little bit. Proulx, how have you been? I just saw some GTASC news.
Yeah. Yes.
What happened?
So I basically was coasting, and it was basically I knew I was close, and I was like, oh, I'll just use a bonus right before 11. And I got really busy at work, and again, completely forgot about GTASC from 11 to 12.
And it's a terrible time, isn't it?
I was down, I think, 85 points or something like that, which I could have popped instantly in Minecraft. Had I known, had I realized, but I just got busy. It's not a huge, devastating blow like it was for the team side, because I was just kind of coasting at this point. Anyways, I was just burning my bonuses, but I definitely could have, just with all the bonuses that I'd earned so far, I could have kept in at least for 3 or 4 more weeks, probably.
Gotcha. So what have you been doing otherwise?
Yeah, so now I've got lots of free time because I have no contests right now. I'm contemplating whether or not I should click the Just for Fun button on UHH. And I'm of 2 minds. I can't decide. And if I don't remember to do it after we finish up here, I guess I won't do it at all. But I don't want to be a pudding, but I would like to get a list. It'd be fun. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, what I've been playing is I did a couple of things for RTDL. So that's fun.
That's a great contest.
I got to play some Orange Box and do some old school Portal, which I haven't played in a while. and an old XBLA game called Wits and Wagers, which is a terrible game.
Never even heard of that game.
Yeah, it's awful. I think it's based off of an actual board game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's not great. It's weird. Basically, you're given a question, and the group has to submit their guesses, and you bet on who's closest to the right answer. It's just an awkward arcade game. It just doesn't work that well, and it's kind of boring. So, especially against computer players, it doesn't really give you much. I've been continuing. Oh, actually, did I talk about League of Evil last week, Fream? I think I did. When we were talking about Ratalaika games.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I beat that. It was a little bit harder than I anticipated. It's much, much harder than all of their other games. It's definitely doable, but it requires some platforming skill. But it was actually a very good game. I thought I enjoyed it quite a bit. But here's the game I've been playing a lot. I've been playing Brawl Out a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
It's okay.
You've been playing local?
I played a little bit of local.
Okay. Because that's fun.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
How's the netcode these days?
So I found one other person playing, and then I dual boxed it. So it's super easy to just find yourself and play against yourself over and over and over again. But it's not very fun to do that.
Yeah, I bet the lag between the 16 inches from box to box is pretty good.
I didn't notice any lag actually. So, but again, literally, like you said, 2 feet away from myself. So, it's tough. It's really tough for me specifically to play this game, coming from being such an avid Smash fan, because it's like they took all the fun out of it. And it's just the bare bone mechanics, but they're not as good. So it's, I understand it's a much smaller studio. Obviously, it's not Nintendo, and you don't care about any of these characters. Although I actually, the guy from Guacamelee is pretty decent, but there's only like 8 or 9 characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's okay. It's about as good as I can say. I was impressed, kind of, with the breadth of options, the different modes, but they kind of they're not so diverse that they seem necessary. So it's kind of gives you the illusion that there's a lot more to the game than there really is.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you're playing on your own, there's just arcade mode, and then other than that, the game seems to want you to play a whole bunch of online. So
yeah, it definitely does. Which, like I said, it would be great if the netcode was good. And I haven't played online. Like I just keep going in and doing my dailies and stuff, and then maybe I'll do an arcade tower every now and again. But I think that would be super fun if I had like a group, like a crew that would come over and we just play some local and have a blast with it. But
how have those arcade towers gone? I know that they were the last achievements to be unlocked, if anyone has actually unlocked them yet. Have you had some experience now?
They are, holy crap, they're hard.
So there's actually a couple of achievements, including the towers, that nobody's unlocked. There's some, which I'm not sure why, but nobody's unlocked the earn level 15 mastery with 2 brawlers, 4 brawlers, and 8 brawlers. I'm only at the level 5 and my highest level guy, but it doesn't seem unfeasible to get it done. I'm not sure if you just can't get enough experience yet or what, but the arcade towers, easy is definitely doable. I've gotten very close.
Me too, actually.
I'm sure just 1 or 2 more rounds and I'll probably have it. I cannot imagine. I can't see how medium or hard are really that feasible.
Well, because you have to, what we're talking about with this achievement is beating these towers, which are, I think in the easy, it's 8 fighters, 1-on-1 fights, except for the final battle. And then the medium tower, you take on 2 fighters, and I think it's 10 battles. And then the hard tower, you take on 3 opponents. and everybody has stock 3, so everyone has 3 lives. You have to beat them all without losing a stock.
Yeah.
So you cannot get knocked off the board. Now, the save mechanic is kind of cool, where if you build up that meter, you can hit the bumps and freeze yourself on a hit, but gosh, you got to be quick. Like if you get smash attacked, you have to be able to catch yourself very quick, but even that, it doesn't take away your percentage.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a neat mechanic. It's definitely useful because if you charge it up 50%, it will instantly get you out of a combo. And this game is very, very combo heavy. Like you can combo lock people pretty hard. Yeah. And the computer can do it to you. So if you get your bar up to 50% and you hit the bumpers, you knock yourself out of it. But if you let the thing go up to 100%, you can still get knocked back, but you stop taking damage for a little while, and kind of makes you. I think it increases the strength of your attacks as well. So it's a neat little mechanic and definitely useful. You would definitely have to take advantage of it to do that. But I don't know, even on medium, because I don't think anybody's unlocked the medium one either. It's they need to change some sort of requirement because that's too tough, I think.
It's super brutal. Absolutely.
Does the percent carry over from one match to the next?
No, it resets.
Okay.
You start at 0. But to get through 3 stocks...
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Like Proulx said, you get pretty close in the easy tower. And so, I mean, if you were just rock solid... Here's the other thing Brawler doesn't do. There's no dodge button. There's no, you know how you can put your shield up in Smash Brothers?
There's a dodge.
There's a dodge, no shield. All you can do is dodge.
Yep.
And so that makes it a little trickier.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the path of comparing it directly to Smash because it's obviously going to come up short every time. It's just going to be a litany of, but it's frustrating because it feels like it just forgets a lot of what makes Smash fun, and just goes to copy it straight out. So, but that's neither here nor there. It's fine. It's okay. Like you said, it's probably more fun when you have people local to play it with. But even then, I think it would get tired after a little while. Doing dailies in it seems like kind of the right amount of time to play the game.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
Nice. I am doing the UHH just for fun. I mentioned last week I got an individual who said that he's a fan of the show, which is fun. And so I went out and I went pretty hot on early. Got some. I was working on one in particular, which was my top one, which is in Hand of Fate, and it was entering a combat with less than 5 health, so you're pretty much dead. But every time you move, you gain a little bit of health because you're eating food, and so. I was trying to set it up so I could get this, but I also wanted to play for fun, like if I could actually make some progress in here. I ended up getting it, but it took me a couple nights to do. But I really like that game. And then he went ahead and, I think I dabbled on a few of them. I did that, and then I had 2 real quick ones in Runbow that'll hold that Games with Gold title from a while ago. So I got like 3 of the top ones. And then what the hell? Oh, and then I was working on Sunset Overdrive. I had a story achievement in there, so I played quite a bit of Sunset Overdrive. So I stopped at 4, and I was just kind of chilling. And he came out and hit up 7, and so I'm down 7-4. And so I double up on the ones that he did. I had 2 in Battle Block Theater, again easy ones that I could just jump in and grab. And a quick one, well, it wasn't actually that quick. I played a level of Unravel, the second level of that game. Those levels are actually way longer than I remember. That first level taking. Fun little puzzle thing, and man, it is beautiful. The art, the aesthetic, the art direction in that is just fantastic. It looks wonderful on my X. I wonder, is it Xbox One Enhanced? Or X Enhanced? Yeah, I'm not sure. But it looked great. I was really excited about that.
It is
not. So Coldwood just did a really great job. So good for them. And so we're tied right now, 7-7, with 17, 18 hours left. And I have it because I have the top ratios going. But it's like these easy ones I don't really want to do. Like, I don't want to start Dying Light, even though I can just craft an item real quick. Like, it's barely even starting it. I don't want to do BioShock 2 because that means I have to turn on my 360. I don't really want to do Life is Strange Before the Storm, even though it's the first optional graffiti.
Oh, that's going to take you 30 seconds, man.
I know, and it's exactly it, but it's like if I start it, and like Late Shift, there's an easy one in there. Halo 5, find one piece of intel. But it's like, I should finish Halo 4. I'm just so conflicted of like, I don't really want to start all these games. But they're just like the one achievement I need is like the bean dive achievement is what it is. And I just don't want to bean dive.
I have that same problem sometimes, and I just don't understand it. If we have a game that we're interested in playing, why don't we just play it? Especially if there's a reason to, like we're involved in a contest. But I do have the same problem where if it comes up and it's not the time I wanted to play it because I have these preconceived notions about what I'm going to do first, like beat the prequel or clear out my backlog some more from other games before I start new ones, it really puts a bottle on me. It's like I can't do it. I just can't.
The other, and so especially when it's like I want to enjoy. I mean, I don't really want to enjoy Late Shift, but I do want to do that in one sitting. I was thinking about doing it tonight, but I do want to enjoy Halo 5, but I don't know how Halo 4 ended, and so like I'm okay not. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And like Dying Light, like that's a big game, and I want to like understand the mechanics, and I want to get a good run into it instead of just diving it and then forgetting about it again, because. Like, what I really liked about this so far with UHH is, like, it has gotten me to play Bayonetta, Sunset Overdrive, and Recore more. Next story achievement. Go ahead and grab one of those. And it's like, I've really enjoyed picking those 3 games up again and relearning the mechanics. And so I'm hoping I can kind of keep that momentum and, like, oh, yeah, maybe play another Sunset Overdrive, get the next story achievement or do some other things. Because the campaign's not terribly long in that. Cleanup might be a little bit longer, but like that's a very doable package. Bayonetta is a hack and slash, and while I have no notion that I'll ever get the full completion on that. I could play through the story and button mash my way probably to be relatively successful, and just see what that's all about. And Recore is kind of a simple mechanic. It'll take me an extra 15 minutes to relearn how to pull cores out, but I'm enjoying that, and it's got some Metroidvania elements to it. Well,
you have a Bayonetta achievement in your list. Why don't you get that one done?
I do. I have because what I've been doing instead is focusing on my RTDL. I have 2 achievements, 2 games on there that I've been working on. Battleborn. I had 2 Battleborn achievements, and they just so happen to be very long ones. But what I'm doing is I'm just idling. I'm actually doing it right now. The remote to my TV is propped ever so slightly against the thumbstick of my controller, and I'm walking backwards in a game that you are awarded experience points simply for the amount of time you spend in the world. So I am in the starting location of a private match, and I will time out in 100 minutes, and I will gain a level. And I need to get to level 100. I'm at 58. So that is, 40 sessions, 400 minutes? That's a lot. That's a lot of minutes. But, I do it while I sleep. So I can get like 3 rounds in, 4 rounds in a day, maybe more on the weekends. And then Dead Cells, I have 3 RTDL achievements in Dead Cells, which, random, real clumpy. They're tough, but I feel like I can do them, which has strained my sleep this week. But they're fun. I love that game. And so I've been doing quite a bit of that. Was there anything else, Kronos, that you wanted to touch on? Any other gaming that has tickled your fancy this week?
Yeah, I can piggyback on that a little bit. You said that this thing is straining your sleep schedule, and we've obviously had some chats about that in the past, but the game that has strained my sleep schedule this week was Fallout 3.
Which is such a strange choice.
Well, I have 2 achievements for Fallout 3 in my UHH list. So I was like, okay, I have more progress in the game than my opponent, so these 2 are mine. These are my points, and those are some of the nails I was talking about earlier. If I can get those, I'm going to have a much better chance of winning. Yep. Unfortunately, that requires that I play Fallout 3, and I've played it very irregularly. I started it after I got a copy in 2014, so it was already 6 years old. And at this point, even after my UHH achievements, I have just now really cracked the first third of the story. So it's not like I'm very deep. But these achievements have ridiculously low ratios. Typically, the more gamers who have a game, the higher the achievement ratios are going to be for that game. Fallout 3 is one of the rare exceptions where, even though a lot of people have it, most of them have gotten through a lot of the story at least. So all of these early achievements have very, very low ratios. I'm getting 1.3 ratios for things that took me, I'm going to say, if I had been doing it better, it still would have taken me 3-4 hours. But it took me 8 to 12 hours this week to try and catch up with what I needed to do, because I thought, it's just 2 paragraphs in the walkthrough. It's the next story-based achievement. No, this is an RPG.
Yeah, right.
I imagine that all of Bethesda's games are similar to that. Oblivion and Skyrim as well. Same sort of thing. The people that get into those games,
they're deep in.
Yeah, Skyrim has a very low ratio, and that game takes you, 60, 70 hours to complete. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the 2 that I needed were for Scientific Pursuits, which is a semi-optional quest that takes you eventually to Tranquility Lane, for those who know.
Oh, I love that achievement.
Yeah, so that one was the one I got first, even though it probably was the one I should have gotten second. And the other one was for, I forget what the Replicated Man, for finding out about the android and solving that quest line. Mm-hmm. So I made some choices that took longer, and I'm going through, and I'm not very good at shooters, okay? I think I've said this before in Discord or in in-person conversations. Shooters are not my genre. RPGs are, though, so it should be okay. But because it's a shooter that has RPG elements instead of being an RPG that has shooter elements, it's not always so great for me. I will say, about 7 hours into that 8 to 12 hour time period that I was playing, I got a message during one of the loading screens. Did you know you can lower the difficulty, but you won't get as much experience when you kill monsters?
Interesting.
I was ready to throw my controller. This game has a difficulty selection. What have I been playing on?
That's funny.
So I had played through the entire thing on the normal difficulty, and I should have just turned it down to easy, because I would have had a lot more fun if I turned it down to easy, because I'm doing things, and it's an RPG, and the thing is, it's a little bit old school in that regard. It doesn't hold your hand with save files the way that some newer RPGs do, or certainly not a lot of newer games do. I remember early on in my experience, I did a thing where I just got to Megatown, or Megaton, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm actually in a city. Let me interact with this thing. This is an RPG. I loot their stuff, and they don't care. Well, she cared, because it's Fallout. And so she shot me, and I died, and I respawn. And I respawn inside of her building, because that's where my last save file was, and she's still pissed.
Oh man!
And I'm like, okay, get out of here as fast as I can. And right outside is the sheriff, and he shoots me. I was like, oh, this is not good. I'm in a loop. So I had to go back to my previous save file, which was still in the vault.
Oh my goodness, that's so far.
So I learned that lesson the hard way, and yet I still did it last night as I'm staying up way too late. I'm wandering the wilderness because I'm trying to get to the vault that contains the Tranquility Lane sequence. And that vault is on the very far western parts of the map. I mean, this thing's out in Loudoun County, and I'm walking there. And it's no good. So I wander, and I'm just avoiding the enemies. I'm going as fast as I can. I've got my weapon holstered. Oh, look, there's a place. I bet that's it. Let me see if I can find out what's going on here. It's got the little notification. I think I see my marker that this is the right place. I jumped out on top of the building, and no, it's a evergreen place, and it's full of bandits. Exact same thing happens. I'm trapped inside. The bandits are killing me. The difficulty's too high. I'm not good at shooting these things. There's 100 bandits, and I can't get out. And my last save file is back in the Metro system in DC.
Bethesda games have conditioned me.
Oh yeah.
When I rebooted Fallout 4, I realized I had over 100 separate saves because I have been burned like that all the time from Fallout 3, Oblivion, Skyrim. Like I save after every probably 5 minutes or so.
Yeah,
and constantly on top of other saves and make new saves, and you have to get in that mindset because you can definitely screw yourself out of a lot of time.
You forget it
in those games,
and that's when it's the most problem because you don't save. You start saving because you had something bad happen. You save. You're doing great, and then things start going okay for a little while, and you got your guard down, and then the game's like, "Aha! I see you haven't saved for a while." Bam! I'm gonna hit you hard.
Here's a death claw. Yep. Yeah.
So I did actually get out of that bandit situation. I found a way to climb up the ridge and ducked out and got out to the wilderness and got a save file with no one around me. I got it safe, and then I made it to the vault. So I did earn both the achievements, but it took me a lot longer than it should have, and it was a lot more frustrating because of things like that. In addition to the fact that the game is a little bit older and has some glitches in it as well. It's a fine game, but it is probably not a game for
Bethesda.
me. I don't play a lot of Bethesda games.
Glitches.
I hear all these wonderful things about Skyrim or Morrowind, and I love RPGs, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to play that. And I play the first 20 minutes of Skyrim, and I say, yeah, I'm done. I'm not coming back. It's not for me.
That's great. That is fantastic. Wonderful. Well, you know what? We gotta
hang on, real quick before we move on.
You got something?
Well, no, I actually have to ask Kronos a question.
Okay.
Because he just recently did some amazing feat in his gaming career.
Oh no, I know where this one's going.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it at all?
Well, it was also on the UHH list, so I was going to get to it if we wanted to go down more on the UHH list.
I think we should talk about it. I think it's important.
All right.
I want to hear it.
So I completed Horse Racing 2016.
Now we're talking.
So I had the achievement on the list for completing 50 races, and if you're going to complete 50 races in this game, you might as well just get it done with. So I did. It's gone. I never have to think about having played that game ever again, except that it will always be on my gamer tag as a 1,000 gamer score that I earned to remind me I played that game. And that was a mistake.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not good. I was looking at it as like, I've played some bad games, and this one is bad. It's clearly bad. But is this worse than Truth or Lies? Is this worse than Yaris? Some of my worst games ever. No, it's not worse, but I can't actually think of a single positive thing to say about this game. I look at every aspect of it, it's like, no, it's shovelware at best, and most of the time substantially worse than that. And the only redemption it has is that it is a full 1,000 gamer score that you can get in 2 to 3 hours of effort, as long as you don't mind your wrist cramping.
Yeah, and it most certainly would be considered effort.
Yes, that's why I would say it's worse than something like Truth or Lies, because it felt, I don't know if it was, maybe it wasn't, it felt longer. It was.
Oh yeah, it's definitely longer than Truth or Lies. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's, even though Truth or Lies is completely broken, that's totally separate, but it's just like that game, what is it, 3 hours, maybe 4? But it feels like, I thought I played it all day. I really did. Man, yeah, that's a terrible game, Horse Racing. I'm glad we haven't been hit with the sequel. Yes, so
the 2017.
Yeah,
you think that window has passed?
I hope so.
They released the 2016 version on Xbox in 2017, so I'm actually not sure that window has passed.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's fair. That's fair. So maybe we'll get Horse Racing 2017 yet. Did it even come out on Steam?
Oh yeah.
Oh, did it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's available on a wide variety of platforms. It's available on mobile.
Oh my god. Oh, that would be terrible. Oh. Yeah, no thanks.
Oh, speaking of mobile, all right, I gotta talk about this right now. So I was at a school dance tonight. Okay, I have two kids, and they are in 4th grade and in 2nd grade, and so this was an elementary school dance, a fun little hit. You know what? Let's just have a little fall fun. We'll get a DJ, and it'll be great. And so my wife volunteered to work concessions, and so she was handing out pizza. And my son, who is now in the student council, he had to spend the first hour selling glow sticks. And so I got to stand. So it was a little date with my daughter and I, and so I'm wall hugging. I don't need to dance. Let's be real. The DJ opens up with the intro theme to SpongeBob SquarePants. That was his opening salvo, and many of the 4th and 5th graders just walked out. They just walked to concession stands. They're like, nope. And so then they flooded the concessions and got pizza. Now, there was, kind of a bit, because then he went into some real dance music and stuff. But let me, you guys have been to weddings, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you understand the types of music that you're going to end up hearing and seeing. They're very, very similar. Of course, much more pop, recent type music. But you're going to get stuff like the Macarena and the Electric Slide and some of the oldies that are fun to dance to. They'll pop up every now and again. But so they were starting out with some contemporary music, and turns out elementary school kids don't know how to dance. And that shouldn't surprise me, right? They're kids. Why would they know how to dance? So you know what they do instead of dancing is they just link together Fortnite taunts over and over and over. So I saw more flossing and the loser jig, or whatever the hell it is, where you hold the L to your head and kick your legs side to side. I saw that more now. I don't even play Fortnite. And I saw so much of this. It was unbelievable what these kids were doing. So much so that the DJ have to say, I saw a lot of you flossing out there. We are having a flossing competition later. So save that energy, because we're going to do it. It's ridiculous. Are you guys familiar with flossing? You guys know this dance move?
Only for my teeth.
Yeah. I am grossly uncoordinated to do the dance. That is one of the biggest issues I face as a baseball coach, in having my kids focus on the game and not floss in the infield, because they are dancing around instead of watching the pitcher and batter. It is crazy. Like, most of the dance, I would say 80% of the dancing was the floss. Like, most kids just locked in on the floss, and it was ridiculous. The other thing that I noticed that was kind of fun, and there's some cute moments too. Like my daughter dancing with her friends was very cute. Like, it was a fun, playful little thing. But one thing I noticed is, like, elementary school kids love to see how strong they are by lifting each other up off the ground. I don't know if this is like a thing, but like I saw it way more often than it's like, yeah, look how strong I am. And they'll grab their friend around the waist and just pick them up and walk around with them. And like that's a thing, apparently. It's super weird. And another thing I saw, and this was my favorite, only because it's miniature society is really what it is. Because elementary school kids can't hide their insecurities as well as adults can. And so I saw this kid, this group of boys. They're probably 4th or 5th grade, my son's age. And there's one kid, man, and he was peacocking like you wouldn't believe. I mean, he had his tight Under Armour shirt. And now, I mean, the kid's in 4th grade. He's got no muscles. So it's like wrapping saran wrap around a rib cage. Like, it is tight and just no definition. But this kid, man, he is locked in, and he's got his ball cap cocked a little bit to the side, nice flat brim, and he is strutting, moving his shoulders, really walking with a purpose. I mean, this kid's got it all. and he's got this dude, and the only thing I can think of is like when I see this other boy, just sweat pouring down his face because he reeks of insecurity. Reminds me of the Harry Potter movies with Draco Malfoy and his crony Crabbe and Goyle. Like it was exactly like this. These two kids would do anything that this Under Armour wearing fourth grader would do. And like, so he'll go down, do the worm. And so this other kid is looking at him so intently and it's like, I can do that too. And then like flops around on the ground, very uncoordinated, clearly doesn't know what he's doing. And then gets up and like looks at his buddy for like validation, like, please be my friend. I need this so bad. And the other kid, and he goes, strutting around doing his thing. It was amazing to see this just, because as an adult, you just hide your insecurities as best you can and you freak out and probably flatulate or, like you just panic and, run to the bathroom or whatever. But like kids, they don't know that other people see how insecure they are. It was great. I was kid watching all of these little microcosms. But I think my biggest issue is these kids they don't know how to dance. They can't do it. Like, and I'm worried if weddings of the future, like when my son is about to get married and, you got us old timers, grandpa here, doing the father-daughter dance and they're going to want to do the floss. And it's like, I'm not doing the floss. I don't even do the electric slide. Like, come on.
Oh, Fream. That entire rant was about how old you are.
Fug would approve.
Yeah.
He definitely would.
What I've learned from this is something that we knew already. School is Lord of the Flies.
It really is. It really is. Great. Anyway, here's another thing then. Not that has anything to do with school, but I'm moving into a separate topic here. Another huge issue with society is when you try to crowdsource something. And I posted this in Discord today because I saw this thing. Have you guys seen the Soul Calibur 6 community-created character?
Only because you posted it.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. And so apparently they created this. It was like a community vote within the forums, and they made this thing called the Wizard Lizard. It is indeed a lizard. It has bat wings. It has a snake head. I guess it's a lizard head. It has cat ears, like the headband with cat ears. It has minotaur horns sticking off the side of its head. Is wearing a wool loincloth. This thing is a monstrosity.
He's got every trope you can imagine. He's got a cape, and the weapons that he's using are just over the top in their idiosyncrasies. It's fantastic.
It is unbelievable. Now and he's got a pistol and a sword and a trident, and it's like they have no idea what he's doing. But watching him in action, he's a total badass.
His attacks, those magical spells that he casts and hits you with, and his breakout effects, I would play that character, and he looks like a lot of fun.
He does look like a lot of fun. He just looks like an amalgamation of all this just gross. It's like Poochie from The Simpsons, where it's like, hey, like, this is what kids like, right? And then just mashed them all together in some sort of monstrosity.
It's literally designed by committee.
Oh, it absolutely was designed by committee. Did the blue and purple magic things he had, wasn't there a character who, like Idol? Or no, that's in Killer Instinct. There was a dude in Soul Calibur who had kind of duality like that, and I can't remember who it was. But I like Soul Calibur for me is one of those just fun pick up and play fighting games that I feel is fairly lenient to new players. Like, you don't have to be in the fighting genre to really like be deep into that game. Like, you can just pick it up and just mash some buttons and have a good time. Yeah. Now, to be very good at it, you need to know the ins and outs of it. But Soul Calibur is always a fun party game for me.
Absolutely. If you don't know what you're doing in Soul Calibur, you pick up Nightmare. You have a big sword. You hit people with it. It's easy.
Yeah. I always like to do Yoshimitsu not Yoshi. Who's the other dude? The white bearded guy who just changes his weapons all the time.
Cervantes.
No, he was my favorite. The pirate guy. He's the dual-sworded pirate.
Edgemaster.
Edgemaster, yeah. He's just the guy who like just copies everybody else's. Because whenever I play fighting games, I like to randomize it. I like to be the jack of all trades, master of none. So it's like in Smash Brothers, I'll randomize it. It's like, oh, I guess I'm Donkey Kong right now. Oh, whatever. Like, I don't care. I don't want to have a favorite because then I feel like I just always play as that character. So I like to just kind of jump around a little bit. But not you, Proulx. You pick a favorite and you ride it. You're a Kirby guy.
I've been a Kirby guy since Smash 64, so we have opposite philosophies apparently in how that is concerned. It's weird. I've just never heard of anybody actually playing Smash like that. Like, even if you don't have a favorite, most people have 3 or 4 favorites that they'll bounce back and forth between.
Yeah,
just randomly playing. It's fun to do actually. We sometimes when we're it's towards the end of the night, we've been playing for a long time. What we'll do is we'll just play random battles, and that's kind of fun to do. But like as a main strategy, it just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if for some reason my friends and I were like, "Hey, let's have a tournament," then I'd probably be Kirby. I think that's my main. If I would call it a main, I like Ness a lot too.
There you go. Ness is a good character.
I think Kirby and Ness are my quote-unquote mains, but given my druthers, I'll be whoever. I have a lot of guys I don't like. Like, I hate Fox and Falco. I just don't like the way they play. They're great characters, but I just hate the way they play.
Yeah.
I don't like Donkey Kong. I hate Mario.
Mario's so balanced, though. You were just talking about the balanced characters. Mario's like the quintessential. We're talking about Smash too much, I think. But
is it possible to talk about Smash too much?
I don't think so, but apparently some other people do. So these people, the listeners, I don't know.
Okay.
They keep chiming in about it, but
these people.
I think I mentioned last week I pre-ordered my Smash bundle for Switch, so I'm so excited. But anyways. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yep.
Wonderful. So yeah, crowdsourced guy looks weird. Here's this. I thought this was pretty darn cool, and I didn't realize they were. I guess it shouldn't surprise me that they were doing this, but Google is teaming up here with Ubisoft for a streaming project. Of course, it's in Google's best interest to do streaming because they are an internet provider, or they, are heavily involved in internet providing, and have the infrastructure probably to do a pretty good job here. And so they're partnering with Ubisoft here for a little bit to stream games, and they're doing Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the launch here, to let people play just straight off the web, and stream it through their computer. You can play it on your consoles and do anything like that, but hey, why not give this a shot? Now, I had seen some comments talking about that this approach, Google's approach to streaming here, is one of the reasons that Sony opened up the crossplay, or at least a piece of the pie, in convincing Sony that it was in their best interest to crossplay with the other consoles, is to say, okay, listen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we are consoles, and if Google really wants to steal internet and take gaming away from consoles, like, that's the biggest threat to us right now. And so all of us consoles have to get together to try and bury Google so that they can't make any money on streaming through the net. You guys, what do you guys think about that? Does it resonate at all, or is that just wacky?
That's an interesting theory. I don't think that's true, only because Google, left to its own devices, will forget about this project like it does 90% of its projects, in the next 3 months. So it doesn't really matter. Clearly, streaming has a place in the future of gaming. There's all these rumors flying around about the next Xbox, and there's going to be a streaming box, and it's not clear how big this is going to be and how much it's going to change the landscape. It could be quite significantly, and maybe this is the beginning few steps that we're seeing here. I don't know. It feels. I don't know. It's kind of weird to think that you'd be playing something like Assassin's Creed just in Chrome, like in a tab in Chrome or however it works.
Yeah.
And I think we're far enough away from it being this sort of existential threat. But I could definitely see it changing things and moving things around in a way that we kind of can't see from this perspective.
Yeah, we obviously don't have all the information, and the companies are making the decisions based on things that they're expecting to happen over the next 5 to 10 years that we just can't expect to happen because we don't have the information. But I don't see myself how Sony's response to the crossplay is related to this, simply because I don't think Sony sees Google as a competitor like that. The gaming market is not even bifurcated, it's trifurcated. It's all over the place. You have the consoles, and the console games, I think, are the ones that are probably the least likely to be streamed, simply because they're so intensive in terms of the art assets and the latency required to make sure that they work properly. But a mobile game could be streamed. And so something like that, where Google is already making a big mark, that could be something where they push it further, and that could increase the quality of the games that you have in mobile and make them playable in more ways that they currently aren't. And that is a threat long term to other forms of gaming because it's going to change how people game. But it's not something that I think is causing them to be concerned about this. I think they saw the writing on the wall for the cross-market thing is this is the way that the market is going, and we don't want to be left out.
Well, let's talk about how the market is going, because kind of what you just said there. Yes, if we continue to move in the direction of these mobile titles and people with their exceptionally short attention spans playing games that they can consume in a matter of minutes, toilet time, that will be more lucrative for companies, and that people will continue to shift their focus away from what we would consider mainstream gaming and try to hit on some of these just grab your attention type games, playing on less sophisticated systems like a mobile device. I mean, the market's getting flooded, is already flooded with these types of titles. Do you think that that's going to pull other developers away? I mean, are we going to be able to continue this renaissance of gaming that we have?
I hate to answer a question with a question, but I'm going to do it right now because I think it's going to be insightful. Fream, do you think that we have too few games on Xbox right now?
No, I don't.
I was just going to say the same sort of thing. It's before all of this, mobile gaming was the big disruptor, and and before that it was handheld gaming, and before that, gaming as a medium is only been trailing upwards. I mean, it's only been increasing in popularity, and obviously it's massive, it's huge, and it's just growing year by year. And so I don't see that really being a problem either. What I do see this and the Sony thing having in common here is that it's going to be more of this platform agnostic gaming, where it doesn't matter where you are. You can play any game on any system. And I think that's kind of the future that we're hoping it becomes. And I can see this being a stepping stone towards that as well.
Sure. I will also say that, of course, this is going to pull developers because developers always chase the trend. If somebody's making money, then they want to do that because they want to make that money too, even if that's usually a bad idea. It's going to be better for them to create their own idea that has the chance of being the next big thing if they want to go after the big thing money. But it's also a problem with a lot of software and especially game development in general, where they want to have all of that profit. The EAs, the Activisions, they say, we want you to be playing our game and just our game for the rest of time, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure our game is massive and addictive and has you coming back, because they want all the money rather than building a bunch of games or more games where each of them is profitable and makes them plenty of money, but isn't the lifetime revenue stream.
Yeah, because I was thinking about your question a little bit more, and while we may have more games, do we have more of those AAA games?
But does that
is
even
is the perception just it messed up in my head because there's so many options that they're burying and I don't care about the AAA games anymore, because I find the independent developers so much more enticing because they're willing to take risks and have smaller bite-size games that are more palatable for me. Were there more big releases just because you had to go with a physical distribution model because digital just wasn't a thing? And so you'd go into a game store and you'd see the wall of games and are like, oh my God, yeah, look at the Cars Driven to Win game over there. Like, yeah, I got to get in on that. And, the movie tie-in games, or just even the just garbage titles that, the 360 physical library is so significant. And I feel like the Xbox One physical library is not, because so many people are just opting digital because it just makes more sense these days. So maybe it's a perception thing, and if I actually sat down and counted them all up, it wouldn't be as significant.
I will also answer my own question one time as well, that I think we still do have too few games on Xbox. The Sony Marketplace or the Steam Marketplace have many more games, and we don't want to have Xbox become Steam. That would be bad. But there's a lot of room for those independent games to come to Xbox, and Microsoft needs to step up their recruiting of those developers and say, hey, come publish with us. You'll get more money by having your product in more places.
Yeah, I like that. Let's move on to a different topic here. This was another just interesting approach. Not that I necessarily endorse it, but I at least think it's interesting, and it involves swatting. For those, I think we all know what swatting is if you're in a gaming culture, but let me just explain it to you quick. It's when you are, there's typically a streamer or someone who is a well-known personality. Doesn't even need to be well-known, just needs to be some random person, and you got a beef that you call the police SWAT team and say that there's a hostage situation, and the SWAT responds like they would in a hostage situation with more extreme force. They kick in a door, they have their guns drawn, they're in body armor, and you typically want to do it when the other person's streaming so you can watch it on their stream when the police come in and destroy their house. It is remarkably dangerous. It is disgusting and ridiculous, and it was causing problems all over the place, but it eventually led to the inevitable death of somebody who had nothing to do with anything that was going on. One clown was getting into a fight on the internet and said, hey, come at me, bro, and put in an address. And so the guy swatted that address. Well, the one dude picked a random address. It wasn't even his. SWAT came to this gentleman's house and ended up accidentally killing him. And so they're trying, what's the right course of action? How do you prevent some of this thing? Well, Seattle is creating a database, which is an opt-in registry for if you think you might be the victim of a swatting incident. So you put your name on here, and if somebody says, hey, here's, I hear there's a hostage situation at this address, they can type it in, and they would say, there are swatting concerns at this house. Now, the Seattle PD is claiming that this will not influence how they go into that house. They will still treat it like it's an event, but if they know there's swatting concerns, they likely are going to be slower on the trigger, and take a few more precautions to make sure that everybody's safe. I like the idea. I don't know if, this is probably a terrible analogy, but I'm thinking of mutant registration in the Marvel world. Like, I don't know if I want to be like on a police database somewhere per se, but if it's going to protect me, if I'm an internet personality, I might like the idea of safety, and that they would know coming to my house like, hey, he's not really unhinged, but he does play a lot of video games, and people might not like him. I don't know.
Freem, are you saying you're not an internet personality?
I guess I am, but maybe where I've come off as too old that I just don't bother people enough. They're like, oh, he's gonna die of old age soon anyway, so we don't have to worry about him. What do you guys think of? Would you get on a police registry if you were concerned about being swatted?
Oh boy,
yeah.
This feels like a there's a lot of issues here, I think. I don't know that there's a really easy solution to this. Of course, you want the authorities to take any situation that might be that serious very seriously.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it seems that we hear more about these types of stories than the other type, the successful type, and it feels heavy-handed. So I don't know, but I don't know if like a volunteer opt-in solution makes any sort of sense, because it's never going to be comprehensive. It's never going to cover everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you would. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I really don't know what is even a good direction to go in.
Because you certainly don't want the SWAT individuals to take perceived threats like this as a joke.
No.
You definitely, if there is a hostage situation in my house, I definitely want them to take out the hostage guy. Like, I don't want to be a hostage. That sounds terrible.
But here's the thing, right? So my trouble is that, so you look at it as a spectrum, right? Whereas they don't take the threat seriously, then they could miss an actual serious situation and someone could die. But if they take it too seriously, like in some of these cases, someone else who's not in a serious situation could die as well. So you want to find that balance, but I don't. Hell if I know. I don't know the best way to do that. That's. I don't envy the person that has to solve this problem because it's tough.
Yeah,
right.
As for whether I would like to be on that registry myself, I think it largely depends on how famous an internet personality we become. Right? If I'm just Kronos, it's not going to matter. Okay, the odds of me upsetting anybody on the internet with anything I say is so slim that I don't have to worry about it because I'm just not a figure. But if I'm PewDiePie, then that's very serious, and I probably want to be on that list.
Yeah.
Well, if you're PewDiePie, you probably can afford personal security and somebody to handle all these sorts of things for you. But if you're anybody, but I'm teasing, of course. But yeah, anybody that's that popular, I would think. And this isn't a perfect solution either because most people wouldn't do it. But I would think that I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say, leave a note on your door that says, hey, I could get swatted. But no, that's stupid too. That's dumb. But I don't know. It's a really tough
I have situation. Headphones on and I can't hear very well, so don't break into my house.
Yeah, maybe there's instead of registering with your local police, because that seems kind of dark, maybe there's a sticker you can get on your door that says, I'm a popular internet celebrity. And people may want to do mean things to me, just so you're aware. I don't know. It's tough.
Like if you had pets in a fire, like, hey, I got pets in here. Like, save them if this building's on fire. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I think we're on board. We had some interesting news stories this week on big name CEOs getting in little issues. Kronos, you even brought a story with you onto the podcast. You wanna intro it for us?
I'll give it my best shot. Randy Pritchford, who is the CEO of Gearbox, and his wife, who runs a charity program of some sort. I forget the details, unfortunately. They have between them a fair amount of money from the work that they do. He's got a lucrative job in software business, and the charity work is bringing a lot of money to give to other people. And so they were in a position where they felt they needed some assistance to take care of the household business because they were just too busy running their own lives to actually run their own lives. They hired a guy, and it turns out that this guy might have been the wrong guy to hire because over the period of a couple of years, he ended up embezzling about $3 million from them with their personal accounts. And they found out about it a few months after they terminated him, and they're now bringing it out into the open with a lawsuit so they can try and theoretically reclaim that money. Now, they're probably never going to get that money back, and they know that, but they're just trying to make sure that there's some justice and awareness of how this happens. It's a pretty sad story, but it's one of those things where you can see how it happens also because these people aren't really expecting to be in the position where they have as much money as they do. They don't know how to handle it. They haven't had any experience working with things this big before. And they look for help, and they make one or two mistakes in finding the right person, and it ends up costing them.
That's just wild. So, yeah, like, somebody that you just trust to hey, could you just kind of keep things in order for me? Because I got so much going on right now. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. I got everything covered. There was a dude locally, and so how did they catch him? Did it say? I didn't see in the article.
They recognized that there were discrepancies in the financial accounts when they audited the accounts after they terminated him. So that's why it took a couple of months. Sure.
Okay. Because there was a dude up here, and this is way small scale, but he, like those. I don't know if the kids in your neighborhoods walk around and sell the football booster card where you pay $20 to the football program and you get all these coupons for local restaurants and establishments. Are you guys familiar with that type of program? Yeah. So anyway, this guy would go around and he would convince businesses to donate to this fake charity he had, and then would just abscond with the money and then, I think he ended up taking $11,000 in a couple years. And it's how the hell did this guy think, you're not stealing very much money. I mean, $11,000 is plenty, but for doing something grossly illegal like that, you want more than 11. And this guy, maybe he thought it was so small, they wouldn't notice the 45 or what'd he do? $3 million, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, he started small. Yeah. He started with $1,000 here, $1,000 there kind of thing, where that's still a significant amount of money. But when there was no action because they were really busy and not paying any attention, then he got emboldened and escalated and it went further than it would have otherwise if they'd been able to correct it and say, look, give us back the $1,000 or you're fired, or both, more likely.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's just, again, and I think that's probably what it is they're just I'm untouchable. I'm so brazen. What are you gonna do? Fire me? I got all your money. It just,
and the money's already spent. I went I took the airplane. I went to the party. I drank the booze. I did the drugs. It's all gone.
That is ridiculous.
It's too bad though. Too. I have a soft spot for Randy Pitchford. I think he seems like a nice enough guy, and like you were saying, Kronos, it's just these people, they're kind of thrust into this lifestyle. They weren't kind of prepared for it. Didn't have the sort of street smarts at that level to know how to handle it, and it just takes somebody who will just take advantage of them, and it sucks. It's kind of a crappy situation.
The unscrupulous win again. Well, no, they don't, because this guy got caught. So take that. Although, yes, so they're not getting their money back. He's just going to jail, or whatever the punitive damage is going to be for him. In a lighter story, Mike Morhaime of Blizzard is stepping down as CEO. He has been part of Blizzard since 1991. Oh. That's a long time. But he's going to step back from being CEO. The Alan Brack, J. Alan Brack, is going to take over as the president. And Ray Gresko is going to be the chief development officer. And Alan Adham will join the executive leadership team. And so I don't know if you guys know any of those people, but they're longtime, Diablo, World of Warcraft people, high up in the food chain. And Morheim's like, hey, working here has been great, but I think it's time. I'm getting older. I think it's time that someone else take the lead of Blizzard. I'm going to serve as an advisor to the company that I love and admire. I truly believe that this is an amazing community and has the potential to be a shining light for the rest of the industry by setting a positive examples of inclusivity, tolerance, and acceptance toward others. And he goes on to say that he, loves Blizzard and all that kind of stuff. We got BlizzCon coming up here in a few weeks, don't we?
Beginning of November?
Yeah. There's a lot of rumors going around about some big fun things that are coming out in BlizzCon. People hoping maybe Diablo 4 gets announced.
It's so weird to me.
That Diablo 4 might come out?
Not that it just feels so early. And I know it's not, because Diablo 3 came out 5 years ago or 4 years ago now? It's been a while.
The gap between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 was massive, though. So
it was so big. And it's still surprising to me that we wouldn't get something new out of WoW first. But
we just did, didn't we?
No, I mean something new out of WoW.
New?
New, like WoW 2. But that industry doesn't even exist anymore. What I was thinking about, though, when I was reading the story is, wow, tough act to follow. If you've been leading Blizzard from the 90s,
right?
And, with Overwatch at the popularity that it's at, oh, man, the next guy in line, that's a lot of pressure. I don't envy his position. That's tough.
It's kind of like just don't screw it up, right? At that point, at some point you do have to continue to innovate and come up with some new things and continue the gravy train. Because, I bet back in the day with World of Warcraft, they're like, oh my god, we don't need to do anything. Look at all these people; they're just giving us money every month. This is amazing. We're making millions. And now it's like, we're making millions, but we're not making quite as
millions
much.
With a small M.
It'd be nice if we had, right, yeah. Tens of millions. It was really nice when you're making hundreds of millions.
That's Activision in their ear. Hey, guys, you could probably make a lot more games. Give us a lot more money. What's going on?
Right.
Yeah, what's your deal?
So that actually gets to the thing is how much was Morheim involved in the Activision merger? I follow Blizzard pretty closely, but that's not a question I know the answer to, and I don't have time to look it up right now, but I will be looking it up and say, okay, what does this mean for how Blizzard interacts with Activision? Because Activision has been largely hands-off on Blizzard, letting them do the things that they want to do. But if that's changing because of the leadership at Blizzard changing, and Activision takes a more active role in Blizzard now because they feel they can or because they feel they need to, that could be a big change in how Blizzard makes products and is perceived in the future.
That is very fair. I'd be real curious about what BlizzCon's going to look like. I don't expect any of these guys, because I don't think Morheim was necessarily part of the Blizzard community-facing teams. I don't recall him ever being on stage, banging the drums. But it'll be interesting if there's any noticeable change to their outward presentation. Again, if it's not broke, why fix it? But I think this is an important year. Well, maybe it's not even that important, but it could be a pivotal year if Blizzard decides to make a move on something of one of their properties. It doesn't have to be Diablo, but Overwatch is 2.5 years old. Hearthstone is 4 years old. Overwatch is their newest IP, right? What else is? I guess they just had the WoW expansion last year.
They're always working on projects, and they are really, really good about not having leaks come out, unlike a lot of other developers. So we don't know much. I can say with a high degree of confidence that a Diablo project is being worked on. It's probably not Diablo 4, at least not as we would like to envision it, but there's something going on there because the people that they were hiring most recently seemed to indicate that they were working on some project in that universe. That may be the thing that's being announced, that's Diablo related, but I wouldn't expect Diablo 4 to be announced at BlizzCon because there's just been no news about it at all. Even though they do keep the leaks to a minimum, I think we would have heard something by this point.
It's hard to say, because you're right. They do not have leaky pipes.
Actually, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. The big announcement for BlizzCon this year is going to be a sequel to The Lost Vikings.
Yes.
Finally.
I'm in.
We'll get that. So
I'm in. It's called The Cave, and it features a talking cave. Oh, wait, no. That's Double Fine. Yeah, but I mean, that's what Lost Vikings was, right? A 3-character puzzle adventure.
Yep. You played three. It was a Super Nintendo game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a good game.
I don't think I beat it. I think I got stuck on the last level. Because that was before, like, I should have called the Nintendo helpline, is what I should have done.
That 1-900 number?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It would have helped you.
You're gonna pay out the nose.
The original microtransactions.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's right. Last thing I want to touch on here, and this, I didn't realize this existed. Did you guys know that there's a text adventure game hidden in the Google search engine?
Zork-like?
It is quite like Zork, actually. It is, so if you go into if you do a Google search for text adventure or text game, right? You type that into the Google search. Then you press Control Shift and J, or Command Option J if you're on a Mac for some reason. Control Shift J, and it'll pull up the command browser on the side, and you can play this text adventure. And it says, just like you can type in commands: north, south, east, west, grab, use, inventory. What does it say? Here's the opening page. A single tingle trickles across your skin. You feel lightheaded and sit down. Feeling better, you stand up and notice the reflection in a window. You're still the same blue G you've always been, and you can't help but smile. But wait, where are your friends? Red O, yellow O, blue G, blue little g, sorry, not the big G, green L, and always the quirky red E. You see a statue of a metal man peeking out of a park just across the street. Possible exits? North. And then you're just the capital G trying to find the rest of your name, Google, in this little text adventure. I tried to play it, but I was at work, and so I was like, I should probably not be dinking around in the Google search engine. Did you guys ever play? Now, Proulx, you're not that old. Kronos, I don't know how old you are. Do you ever play text adventures?
Oh, tons of them. Yeah, I played last week. You were talking about some of those like Quest for Glory or King's Quest text parsers.
Yep.
One of my favorites that sort of fit in that same vein of the stories you were telling last week is called Eric the Unready. And in Eric the Unready, I ended up in the same kind of situation of should have called the Nintendo helpline, except it's on my PC, so that wouldn't have worked. I got stuck because I'm still a kid and I'm playing this game and I don't know how to solve this puzzle because I have objects in my inventory and I use the object with the thing on and it doesn't work. I don't know what the puzzle is. For example, there's a tree that's blocking your path. And the reason why it's blocking your path is that the roots are going to always trip you up if you try and walk the path. And you can't walk around for whatever reason. You have to go on this path. So you need to move the roots. So you collect items, and one of the items you collected is root beer. You have to use the root beer on the roots.
Oh my god, it's so
stupid. It's fun, and I don't think that was the one that actually stumped me up that I had to go to a guide eventually for. I think the one that really stumped me up was using kaopectate on a cow, and I was like, I don't know what kaopectate is at this point.
I still don't even think I know what it is.
So those games, the trying to divine what the developers and the writers had in mind as how you solve this puzzle, it's kind of fun, and I guess that's when you have that as that's your game. I tell you, I loved Eric the Unready. I had a lot of fun with it. But as soon as the guide cracked open, I found a path that would help me and solve that one part. It's like, nope, I'm done. I'm sticking with the guide.
Right. And that's what's tough. I mean, I do the same thing now with Artifacts movie games. And those are so simple. Those puzzles are not difficult. Like, if I literally spent any brain power on it, I would enjoy it, and I would likely solve them without issue.
Though that's the thing.
I want to assume I would.
I don't know, especially with this, talking about this text adventure stuff. And no, I was too young, so I have no nostalgia for this stuff. I'm aware of, the roots of gaming and this sort of this paradigm here, but I've never actually jumped in and played the games. It doesn't sound at all fun to me, and then neither is something like a lot of the Artifacts Mundi stuff. It's like you encounter the initial experience, and that's 100% of everything that you're going to experience. Everything, okay, you're given everything this game has to give you right away, and then you are spent frustrating yourself, hitting yourself against the wall for the rest of the game. Okay, is this the right thing? No. Is this the right thing? No. Like root beer with roots. That's so stupid. It's more annoying than anything. And that's where the developers feel like they're being clever, but that's actually, there's no consideration put into actually the user experience, where it's just like, what the hell? No, that's not what you would normally do in any situation. So it's cute. It's cute that Google does this, and it makes a lot of sense. But these things are artifacts for a reason. We don't have these types of games anymore, I think, for a very good reason.
Yeah, it is kind of a dinosaur, and it's interesting to I picked up a book called How Our Base Belongs to Us, a history of video games and their influence on pop culture. Yeah, and it's kind of the idea of where did video games come from and how did they grow to the point now where they're taking things over. And this was written back in, I think it was written in 2008. So I mean, a good chunk of gaming leading up to this, but they stopped short of kind of where we're at now, and even looking at the history of what things have gone in the recent past. The rise of mobile, digital, streaming, all these, I would never have pictured a world like Twitch and Mixer. Like, if you told me that, hey, there tons of people will watch other people play video games when they very well could be playing video games themselves, but they'd rather just watch other people. That's would sound so crazy to me if you told me that, a decade ago. I said, there's no freaking way.
We're about the same age. So when you were growing up, you would go over to your friends' houses and they would have the consoles and you'd play the game with them. And sometimes they'd play single-player games, right? So you'd be stuck watching them play. And you might take turns, but a lot of times you'd be watching, right?
Yeah, I see where you're going. I have a counterpoint.
But it's still fun, continue. Right? It's fun because there's a social aspect to it now, and you're like, oh, he's beating his head on this one point. I know, and I can tell him, and it's just not. He can't make that jump. I'll make that jump. You hand the controller over and you do that thing, and Mixer doesn't have that, or Twitch doesn't have the handing the controller over aspect. But there is something about watching a person play, especially if you have a relationship with that person or feel like you have a relationship with that person, that is fun because it's the social aspect.
I'll give you that, because I think what I was going to say in regarding to the kid is like those text adventures are a great example of that. Is back in the day, that's how you solved those things. Is you got all your buddies together and you're like, okay, listen, this is what I'm looking at here. Like, can you come up with anything that might work here? Like, I don't know. Like, so I keep tripping over this thing. I've got an axe, but they won't let me use that on here. I've got a carrot. It doesn't work. I've got root beer. I mean, that's food. Why would that work?
Teopectate?
Well, root. Like, why don't you try root beer on the root? Okay. I mean, I'll give it a shot, but oh my God, it worked. And then you just get on a roll. Like, that's how you solved those things back in the day. Or at least I had those experiences, and it was great. Yeah, it's a different type of social thing. Let's see. There's a dude on TV the other day, and I was trying to explain to him. It was Ninja. He was on TV, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's Ninja. He's a popular streamer, plays a lot of Fortnite and PUBG." And my wife's like, "What?" Like, who the hell is this guy? Why should I know? And I was like, try to explain to her how much money this dude makes and how many subscribers he has and how many people watch his stream. And I think when you get to the point, like I like visiting your stream, Kronos, or I like visiting, friends of mine streams where it's like, there's maybe like 20 or so people in there, and I know most of them. Like, it's intimate. It's I would consider them digital friends. If I get in a stream with 15,000 people in there, that's just stupid. That's just a crowd yelling at someone on stage. I mean, that's not an experience I want to be a part of.
Because you don't feel that you have a relationship with the streamer. It's not about the other people. It's about you with the streamer.
Yeah. Old Man Fream.
Yeah,
just doesn't get it.
Lots of old man Freemisms this episode.
Doesn't get it.
I feel I kind of feel a little bad for Ninja because I feel like he's such a flash in the pan. I don't think we're going to be talking about him in a year. Who knows? 6 months, maybe 18 months. But
was he the dude? I'm pretty sure that was him who was getting beer poured all over him at Yankee Stadium. I
didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I thought that was him. It might be some other dude or whatever.
And it came out, I think, over the summer. I think we talked about it on the show too, where he left. He didn't do any streaming for like 2 days and lost like 60,000 subscribers or some crazy amount like that. And he's making a lot of money, but he loses a lot of money when stuff like that happens. So basically, it's a job where you kind of have to be on point all the time, and you don't get time off. Now, if you're the number one streamer in the world, I think you just work for 2 years and never take a break and take all that money and run. But that's not anything you can really. That's not sustainable, certainly, and nothing you can follow up on. So I kind of feel for the guy. I don't know. You can't do anything once you reach the top except go down.
We don't have those celebrity game shows anymore either, where he might be like a celebrity square.
There you go. It's Celebrity Game Night, that stupid Jane Lynch show on NBC. That's the perfect spot for him. Although he's not on NBC, but like I feel like that's where all those people go. That's the new Hollywood Squares.
The washed up streamers.
Well, I was gonna say, didn't frickin' Baldwin's doing Match Game again? That's the third time that's been around. Couldn't find another pervert to do it, like Richard Dawson. Oh man. Anyway, you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Kronos, why don't we, since, you're a guest, we can give you an opportunity to plug your show and things, because our show's not going anywhere. So, if you might as well spread our community out and find wonderful other avenues where they can get their, oral video game, fix. And that's oral with an A, AURAL, you dirty minds out there.
Thank you, Fream. I stream Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm almost always joined by my friend Dez, who helps keep me on track, and we play whatever game we think will be most interesting for us at that point. Occasionally, at this point, I'm actually getting some new games. I streamed Hellblade right as it came out, so that was one of the more interesting ones that we've done recently. We talked earlier that I streamed Uncanny Valley last Tuesday, which was not great, either as a game or as a stream choice. So it's hit or miss, but we always have a lot of fun regardless. And so people are always welcome to join, and we would love to have you. It's just a simple time, and we talk about all kinds of things. Des and I like to get into it, just like I did here tonight. The business side of things, the politics, these are some of my passions. So those are the things you're going to find me talking about most of the time on the stream.
Do you have a clever name for your show?
Nope.
Nothing? Just Kronos streams.
Kronos streams on Tuesday nights. It's what I have my catch line finally, and that took me like 6 months to come up with. So no, I haven't got a title.
All right, we'll work on that. We'll get you. We'll get a PR rep. He can work on your branding. But yeah, Kronos, I appreciate you taking some time, spending a little time with us. Proulx, anything fun you want to touch on?
No, I don't. Hey, no. I'm good.
Nothing.
I'm set.
Just playing out the string. I should go grab maybe 1 or 2 UHH achievements here, just to give myself a little bit of a buffer and not rely on the tiebreaker. But
I did click the subscribe to Just for Fun. So
just for fun, baby.
It's happening.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
There's some things. There's some things in the work with that. So if you enjoy the UHH, stick with TrueAchievements.com. There's
True Willpower.
I pitched it, bud. I pitched it. Yep, it's in our list. I got three contests that I pitched. So, but nobody's giving me feedback on it. That's what's driving me nuts. So I gotta beat the drum a little louder. But I want to thank all of you listeners for giving us an opportunity. Hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun tonight. If you listen, we're still running contests. Like I said, we got Matriarch and Minpin for the Gamertag Challenge. This month, in terms of the community challenge, we are following along with the TA playlist and playing the Metro series. So if you're interested in that, obviously Metro Exodus isn't out yet, but there is Last Light, Redux, and 2033, which is actually just 2 games, but 4 times the gamer score. Redux is, not the other 2. And so join in with that. And of course, we've got the random to-do list going on and all sorts of fun things. So I want to thank everybody again for being a part of the community. And if you want to see those, it's over at forum.z2z.com. We also have our Discord, discord.io/z2z. So on behalf of Proulx and Kronos, this has been Brandon. And to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you next episode.
See you later.
Bye.